Hey guys, it's your boy Sasha here, and I just wanted to talk about little things first. Actually, clear a few things up. Now, this video was supposed to come out on Friday, but Friday was the day before I came back here, Pittsburgh, in the old setup. So I wasn't able to edit in a bunch of time. I had to pack a lot of stuff. So I'm very actually sorry about that. But we are here back in the kind of original setup, the OG setup. That video will be I guess maybe the one of the will be the last video in that setup, but we're back here in this old setup here, getting here for another video. So this video should be sports talk, but I do mention that there was going to be a video Saturday, but there is a video Saturday now. So you are getting a video on Saturday, you're going to get one tomorrow, and then you're going to get one on Monday to finish it out. Then we should go back to regular. Oh, sorry about that. My computer had something popped up. I was like, all of a sudden my thing went. So sorry about that. Then we should have the regular Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hope you guys are enjoying. See you guys in the next one. Guys, what is up? It's your boy Chef Danny here, back with another video. And today, guys, we're doing another sports talk video. We got some news in sports. We got to talk about many things. The MLB season officially started yesterday. NBA started playing their scrimmages and some other news. Before we get right into it, before we get into sports news, I want to talk about kind of my channel a little bit. Nothing really new. We're going to be changing this kind of background, this kind of room I'm in. We're going to go back to the old room, my old kind of setup sort of thing, which we haven't been, I think, since May, so it's been a while. I think we were in Baldy's Basics 9B, 1 or 2 when this started. So, hope you guys did enjoy my videos this summer. I want to thank some of you guys for watching my channel, long-time supporters. So let's just get right into it. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about in sports. I want to start off with MLB news. So yesterday was the very first MLB games of the regular season, the 60-game sprint. We had the Yankees beat the Nationals 4-1 in a shortened game. The game got cut in half due to weather, inclement weather in Nationals Park. And then we saw the Dodgers beat the Giants 8-1 last night. But the official opening day really starts today. The first game is at, I think, 4 o'clock. It's the Braves and the Mets. But we get to see all of the other teams. So I think about 26 teams are playing today. So pretty much all the MLB teams are playing today. My team, the Pirates, are playing the first game against the Cardinals. And we have tons of great things to look today. And now that we get the season start, we do get to look at some things. What's going to happen? We get to see maybe some underdog teams, some teams we wouldn't really expect with the 162 game season to make the postseason this year. We're going to talk about the postseason in a second. And you could see bigger names like the Yankees, the Dodgers have ascending records. Not many lose a lot of games because they were teams who were poised to win over 100 games or even or someone around that 100 game range. For the 162 games, and that got scrapped. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, what stars are going to come out and shine, what records are we going to see, how many home runs are we going to see hit, because the record for home runs hit in the season is 33 home runs hit in 6-game stretch, which was done by Barry Bonds back in 2001, I believe. But we're going to see some outstanding numbers with average RBI, slugging, OPS. It's going to be insane. We could see some historically low ERAs for pitchers. Strike big amount of strikes out for 60 games. This isn't a marathon, it's a sprint, so each team, they have to be on their A game. So it's going to be really, really, really interesting. But in other MLB news, we have a last-minute change that came to the season right before, essentially, first pitch for the Yankees-Nationals game. So when the MLB was doing their talks, and they were talking about to do how many games they want to play with the salaries, the negotiations between the players and the owners that was going on for a couple of months, whether or not to have a 2020 season even. One of the things that was most talked with, along with the universal DH and some other stuff, was an expanded postseason. Now, there are many things to talk about the postseason. Now, they wanted to expand to a certain amount of teams, kind of change the rules, and they officially did that. They decided to change it right before opening pitch, essentially. So essentially, they announced that what they're going to do is they're going to expand it from 5 teams per league to 8 teams per league. So what happens is that the top the top two teams from each division, so the team who will finish first and the team who finish second in each division, will automatically make the postseason. And then there will be, of course, wild card teams being dependent on record. So we could technically see, we might have seen this in the past, a third place, even a fourth place team win the World Series, which would be pretty insane. We could see a team with a 25 win record win the World Series. Which would be pretty astounding. It would be pretty interesting, but that is pretty interesting how they're under the rules. The division games will be sorted into 3 games, which will be all home field advantage for the higher seed team. And then the National League Championship Series will go to 5 games, and the World Series will stay the regular 7 games. So I'm actually really excited to see this new postseason. I'm not really a big fan of it. I like the older postseason, but I understand they had to change a little bit, especially during because of the coronavirus. But it's going to be really interesting to see what players, what teams shine. And we could see a big, kind of like a fairy tale story with the Nationals, where they were able to defeat the team, the Dodgers, who were said to have a big World Series game. And then they went ahead and defeated the Cardinals in 4 games, and defeated the best team in the league, though in Astros in 6 or 7 games, which was a very good moment. So we got new postseason, and we got the another big contract. So we did talk about Mahomes' big contract here on Sports Talks, his $500 million contract. But Mookie Betts has signed a 12-year, I think it's $380 million deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers to stay with them. Now, I know a lot of Red Sox fans were talking about bringing that Mookie back, that the Red Sox plan was to trade to David Price, free up salary space, and then bring Mookie back. But looks like Mookie's not going to return to Boston. He's staying for a long time, and I'm pretty sure Mookie will probably retire with the Dodgers. So, the Red Sox they did get a ring out of him. They did get an MVP award out of him. They did get some stuff out of him, but he's staying with the Dodgers. I think it's gonna. There's other things in MLB news, kind of smaller things. Yasiel Puig, he was set to sign with the Braves, but he contracted the coronavirus, so he will not sign with the Braves, who will remain a free agent. And another thing that I thought was interesting was the Reds released Derek Dietrich. Now, Derek Dietrich, to me, he's not that. I think he's not good, but he's not as bad as people think he is. But I think he does need some massive improvement. But he ended up signing with the Cubs. The Cubs are one of the Reds' biggest rivals, and I think that's astounding how he was able to sign with the Cubs. So he'll stay in the division. He'll get to face the Reds this year, which is going to be pretty astounding. And the Dodgers opt in Gavin Lux down in the minor leagues. Essentially, he won't play this season, which was a shocker because he was my candidate personally to win National League Rookie of the Year. But I think now we can see some more candidates shine out there, some more young prospects come out and shine this year. See who wins Rookie of the Year. But that's really it for MLB news. Nothing really new. We did see some acquisition games played starting on the 18th. That's really it. Let's move on to NBA news. So in NBA news, we have some NBA news here. Not a lot, though. We have the NBA scrimmages started today, a couple days ago. We started off with the LA Clippers beating the Orlando Magic 90-99. We got to see LeBron James play, and the Mavericks beat the Lakers. We get to see inside the court and how it looks without how it looks in Disney World. So it's a pretty nice court. I think it's a regular sized court with Black Lives Matter paint on it, which I greatly agree on. And then it has kind of like a screen that says "Let's go Lakers" or whatever, "Let's go Clippers," depending on what team is the home team. So we get to see inside what it's going to be like. These are just scrimmage games; they're not the actual season. The official season starts on July 1st. But in NBA news, Victor Oladipo, who I said was going to not play due to injury, he played. He played a scrimmage game against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Indiana Pacers beat the Portland Trail Blazers. So that is very, very, very interesting here. That he was able to come back, and for you Pacers fans, he's able to come back. But hopefully the Pacers can. Maybe they get their seated up a little bit. But hopefully they have a good, decent little playoff run. That's really ends it for NBA news. They're playing the scrimmages, starting to come back. So that's really it for NBA news. In NHL news, we have some NHL news. The finalists for the Calder Awards, the Hart Trophy, have came out. So they are starting to get their awards a little bit, but they are preparing for the qualifying rounds on August 1st. And the NHL Seattle team finally has a name and uniforms. They're called the Seattle Kraken. So it's probably the name that and the Rain City Pigeons, I think what it was, were the most talked names for the team. And they ended up going with the Kraken. I think the logo is really cool. I think the uniforms are really nice. I'm thinking about even getting one of their uniforms. But now their next step is to do the draft lottery. So last draft lottery we saw was the when the Vegas Golden Knights came in and they drafted Marc-Andre Fleury, which I love Marc-Andre Fleury and the Penguins. I'm very upset about. So they have to find out how to draft the players and what's going to be interesting. What player they choose not to keep, what players they choose to keep on the squad, and what team is going to go to that expansion team in Seattle. Hopefully they do good there, but I mean, I know a lot of Seattle fans, they might want an NHL team, but I think they want the Supersonics back more in the NBA than they rather want an NHL team, but I don't know. I think it's good for them. Not really is it for NHL. Let's move on to NFL news. In NFL news, there's a plan. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but there's a plan to play 0 preseason games. So I know that they had they cut the preseason in half from 4 games to 2 games, and now they're not playing it at all. But they're certainly good to training camps to prepare for the season. But I know the Eagles, so they aren't going to allow fans at their games for the season. But the NFL said they are going to that fans will have to wear a mask if they go to NFL games. I wonder if they're going to have fans at limited capacity, even if they have fans at all preparing for the NFL season with the virus impacted. But with that, the Washington Redskins now they're having what I call a placement name. Now the Redskins have been wanting to change their name. They decided that it was offensive to Native Americans, so they will be changing their name. But they have not decided against the official name yet. But to not represent the Redskins logo and name, they're changing their name temporarily to the Washington Football Team. Now it's interesting because they have their uniforms changed a bit. They'll have the player's number on the helmets instead of the logo. I think it's it's actually pretty interesting to see because I wonder if they wanted to have. I know they didn't want to have the Redskins for the season, so they had to change it. But the Washington Football Team. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they had to do, but I mean, it's weird. But they are coming with like merchandise for the Washington Football Team, so yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird, but I mean, until they find a suitable name for Washington, I think it's really weird. So that's really it for NFL news. We're gonna go on to some WWE wrestling news. Now, I did make my Extreme Rules prediction, and Extreme Rules happened, and it was an interesting paper, nonetheless. We got to start off with the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which was now I never actually talked about 2 matches I would because they were kind of announced after Sports Talk happened. That was Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the New Day in a tables match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And a pre-show match was announced today of Extreme Rules between Kevin Owens and Buddy Murphy. So Kevin Owens defeated Buddy Murphy in the pre-show, just kind of going along with that Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins storyline that's been going on for a couple weeks. And then we had to be in the pay-per-view, Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the New Day and tables match. And we have new tag team champions. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura are the new SmackDown tag team champions. Now, I know that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was actually to have the Forgotten Sons become new tag team champions, but I think one of them had had an offensive tweet or offensive thing he posted, and they decided to pull him out of that original plan and put Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in that because they had that kind of like a little fraction with Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn left because he did not want to wrestle during the coronavirus. That's why he had his Intercontinental Championship vacated. So we have new tag team champions, and then we have now we have an interesting storyline here. With the Hurt Business storyline. Essentially, MVP Bobby Lashley and I'm going to say Shelton Benjamin have formed a new faction called the Hurt Business, which is essentially what WWE wants to do is a remade version of the Nation of Domination. That stable had D'Lo Brown, Farouk, and The Rock in it. I can't remember. There was a 4th member, but the most known member is definitely it was The Rock. That's how The Rock started his career in WWE. they're trying to bring that big kind of another big African American stable in there. Now we already have the New Day, but since the New Day's on SmackDown, and if Xavier Woods healthy, come Survivor Series, the Hurt Business versus the New Day, that would be a pretty good match that I'm actually looking forward to. But they're in a feud with Apollo Crews, Ricochet, and Eccentric Alexander. But so apparently Apollo Crews is injured, and that he was injured by Bobby Lashley. But he's still United States Champion, but at Extreme Rules, since he was injured, MVP declared himself United States Champion. So who's next? So it's Apollo. So I can check here, but on the WWE app, I wonder who it says. So if you go to Superstar, because if you go to Superstars here, right there, it says Apollo Crews Champion. I mean, but he's injured, so I don't really kind of know what to think there, considering he's injured. So I don't really. So right now, I guess Paul Crews is still U.S. champion, and MVP is not, but he's proclaiming himself United States champion as well. 2/3 of Fox have titles since Shelton Benjamin defeated R-Truth to win the 24/7 championship. And since Apollo Crews is injured, they bring in Mustafa Ali to replace him in a 6-man tag team match with Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, and Cedric Alexander won. In other Extreme Rules stuff, we had the Drew McIntyre match ended up being Dolph Ziggler stipulation was an Extreme Rules match, but only for Dolph. So Dolph Ziggler wrestled under Extreme Rules, while Drew McIntyre wrestled under singles match, and of course Drew McIntyre won. He's gonna have another couple days, probably like 20 more days of the title, because he's probably gonna drop it to Orton at SummerSlam. And then tonight or this Monday on Raw, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler have a rematch for the title, but Drew picks a stipulation, so I wonder if he's going to go the same route as Ziggler or not. So it's going to be interesting when he picks. And then we had the Wyatt Swamp Fight match, which was a very interesting match per se. It wasn't like a traditional cinematic match. It kind of felt more like a movie sort of thing, like an action scene. It had some really weird moments where I guess Alexa Bliss was Sister Abigail all along. I mean, that was just weird. You had some weird moments, but at the end, when it looked like Braun Strowman won the match by pulling Bray Wyatt in, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt's best character, emerged from the water saying, "Let me in," which sets up Braun Strowman versus The Fiend for the Universal title at SummerSlam, where The Fiend should win back his title. The Fiend had a great title reign. He had a great match with The Miz, great match with Daniel Bryan, one great match with Seth Rollins, and then he had to throw the title to Goldberg. I mean, I love Goldberg. He's actually one of my favorite WWE superstars of all time. But the way he dropped the title to him at Super Showdown, I didn't really like. So, hopefully he can regain his title back, have another great reign with it. Deserves to have his second title reign with it. Now, something that, I say this for last, but it really infuriated me at first. Because at first, I mentioned how they could set up a perfect storyline, and they had the pieces planned. But now they've set it up, and if they don't, now they have it set up in a perfect way again. The Sasha Banks Bayley feud is the feud that will never happen, but they're teasing it to happen. Now there's matches that we all want to see. Undertaker versus Sting, never gonna happen. We wanted to see Brock versus Goldberg happening again. That happened, you know. But will this match well, it's already kind of happened, but will it ever happen again? Hopefully. So, at Extreme Rules, Nikki Cross lost her match against Bayley because Sasha interfered. Like I said Sasha's going to help Bayley, Bayley's going to screw over Sasha. Here's what happened. So Bayley went to go interfere by hitting Asuka with the tag team title belt, but the referee stopped her, and then when Asuka went to go spew her green mist, it went in the referee's eyes. So, okay. Then Bayley took the ref's shirt off, put Sasha on Asuka, counter for the 1-2-3. And Sasha was Raw Women's Champion. So I was very infuriated because I was shocked how she won. Then it was revealed the following night on Raw by Stephanie McMahon that the match ended in no contest, and that they were going to find out this Monday on Raw, who will be Raw Women's Champion. So it will be Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. Now you have in place. Well, wait, they have a place for a few because Stephanie said if anyone interferes, or she said if a certain role model, Bayley interferes, she will lose the championship and Asuka will win. And that even applies to Kairi Sane. If she interferes, Sasha will win. So with Kairi Sane defeating Bayley in the past night on Raw, what's gonna happen? I mean, what should happen is she's gonna win, and then Bayley just attacks Sasha and says that she tried to help her and that something like that. That you need to have this match for SummerSlam. SummerSlam is going to be held for SummerSlam. They've already confirmed it's not going to be in Boston. You threw away a match card. It had Lesnar's probably final match against Bobby Lashley. Had an Edge Orton match. It probably had like Goldberg or something. Undertaker Goldberg. It had something. It had something really good. And you had to scrap it. You need this match on the card. You need to have The Fiend, Strowman, McIntyre, Orton. I mean, they're probably going to have Goldberg come back, probably. They're going to have some part-timer come back. You need to have this match because it's going to be important. They're going to have Asuka, Shayna Baszler, something like that. They have to have this match happen. If they want a good SummerSlam, if they want to prepare, if they want to have the SummerSlam they want to have, make this match happen. I've been wanting it. Fans been wanting it. But as the road to SummerSlam officially begins, there's tons of matches we can expect. Tons of matches we're going to see. Probably every title, or almost every title, will be defended. So you have to see every title. You have to see this match. You have to see tons of great matches. You have to see the matches they're setting up planned. I think it's going to be a good SummerSlam. I'm excited to see what happens. But that's it for WWE Wrestling News. Hope you guys enjoyed today's Sports Talk. There will actually be no video on Saturday. There will be a video on Sunday and a video on Monday. Then regular Friday, Saturday, Sunday stuff. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.